Happy Thursday and happy Facebook Live time. I am Melissa Kerman with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. Welcome if you're joining in for the live or for the replay. Just want to say, for the record, lots of people do watch on the replay, and if you do watch that way on YouTube or on Facebook, I always have when the project demonstration begins listed in the beginning of the description. So if you're not into listening to all the announcements and updates and the chatter and what's going on with me, feel free to jump ahead. Always an option for you. So if you're here joining me live, yay. I love having people to chat with as I demonstrate and share the excitement of crafting with me. So welcome and thanks for being here. I see people joining in, yay. Hi, Kathleen. Oh my gosh, it's smoky up there, huh? Oh my gosh, so many places are just crazy filled with smoke. I just can't even imagine how it must feel on your lungs. That's what I would worry about. Hi, Sharon. Welcome. Good to see you here. So tonight I have some announcements as always and a fun Inky project for you. I'm going to be getting my hands dirty. I'm quite sure of it tonight. One of my favorite fun things to do. So some variations on playing with ink. Hi, Sue. Hi, Gail. I think I missed somebody. Oh, you're from Australia. How fun. Well, welcome from the far off land. Okay, well, so I'll just launch right in with announcements. Oh, I see, 10 miles away from your house. Oh, it's unbelievable how many fires there are going on around the country. Anyway, be thinking about all you guys. Oh, you're in Colorado and your lungs are hurting too. Oh my gosh, crazy. Hi, Jolene. I see you here. Yay, it's been a long time. Hi, Christy. So fun to see people joining in. So just quick little recap, announcements, and then I got a fun Inky technique for you. I'm going to be making 3 projects with the Snowflake Splendor product suite. So without further ado, on to the announcements. So in my newsletter yesterday, I mentioned a newsletter subscriber only special. I haven't done one in a while, so I really like to do it as a way to thank people for being dedicated subscribers. You receive a newsletter every single week with all the latest updates and links to my blog posts and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you being a subscriber. So for that, I have a giveaway of retired embellishments. So I was cleaning out all my my craft space, which is a virtual perpetual process, and realized I had a ton of retired embellishments. So I'm going to be giving those away to people who place orders during the month of September. So for every $50 you spend, you'll get a retired embellishment. And that will be a maximum of up to 3. So you can get up to 3 embellishments. Now, what I have to give away was in my newsletter. So there's a picture of a whole, pile of them. Some of them are full packs, some of them are partial packs. So just FYI, and they're available while supplies last. And if I have my druthers, I'm going to be giving them all away because generally speaking, I don't use the retired products. Try to stick with the new goodies. So, and in addition, those goodies are on top of the regular giveaways that I'm giving away. So you may be getting either free card kits or a free embellishment or free markers this month. That was also in my newsletter last week and then also in this week's newsletter as well. So if you're not sure what you qualify for, just let me know. I'm happy to clarify. So I guess in speaking of that also, if you are eligible for kits and you don't really want kits, if you're eligible for free gems and you don't want gems, same with markers, let me know because I aim to please. I want you to get gifts from me, thank yous from me that you love. So recently I had somebody who said they are not big into markers, so she'd rather have embellishments. So I'm going to send her embellishments instead. So just let me know. Thank you, those of you out there sharing and sharing twice. You're awesome. I appreciate you spreading the word about what I share and create in my Facebook Lives. So yes, let's see. So what else? Oh, and last week I asked you to use some hashtags. So I'm going to announce the results from that little fun thing So you were either going to tell me hashtag free card kits or hashtag free product to tell me what your preference is for one versus the other as a thank you gift. So I'm going to have the results at the end of the Facebook Live today. So stay tuned, stick around if you want to know the results of that. All right. So let's see what else. Anything else? So I'm going to go ahead and launch right into the project demonstration. So, and okay, here we go. Alrighty. It was actually really fun to look back at the comments and see how many people commented, how many and who commented with the hashtags and which ones you chose. Something I've been curious about for a while, so I'm glad I asked the questions and got some answers on that. So as you see here, this is the spread for Snowflake Splendor. I love snowflakes, so it's never too early for them. And I'm going to be using the stamp set and the dies and even some of this Snowflake Splendor ribbon. And I think I used some embellishments as well. So that is the product suite. Comment and let me know if you like that suite, where it falls into your favorite, least favorite, most favorite. Always like to know that sort of thing as well. It was definitely popular in my product shares that I recently did. So I'm using, of course, the Snowflake Wishes stamp set, the dies, and you'll see the and let's see, and then also the snowflake dies. Let me see if I can reach it. I'm attached by this cord now. My microphone cord. It should be cordless, but I didn't get cordless. So these are the dies from this lovely bundle, and these are just the most beautiful, delicate snowflakes. I just adore them. So I had to show those. All right. So like I said, I have 3 cards to show you, and let's see, where do we begin? Baggie number 1. So I've got a piece of watercolor paper here. Now this first focal background that I'm going to do was inspired by Tina Zink. I don't know if any of you guys know her. She's from Canada and does a lot of really creative, fun things. So I am excited to be sharing something similar to what she did in my own colors. So what I'm using here today is 3 colors, Night of Navy, Balmy Blue, and Melon Mambo. These were the color challenge colors for the Color Fusers blog hop on Monday. I do this monthly. It's the first Monday of the month. And so this was the first decision, or the first determining factor of my project, was the color scheme. So from the color scheme, I was looking at my stamps to see what I might want to use, and the snowflakes jumped out, and I'm not even sure I picked anything else to play with. So you might also notice that right now I have no stamps out, because all I'm going to be using is my ink pads and some acrylic blocks. So this is really a lot of fun. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start with a big block here, and I'm going to ink it up with my Balmy Blue. And I've got a spritzer bottle. Now I'm going to be spraying off camera, just so I'm not spraying here in my workspace, but just know when I go off, I'm taking my water bottle and just spraying it on my block a few times. That was actually 4 times. And then I'm just going to stamp it on my watercolor paper. And depending on how much water I have on there, it's going to show up differently. So I'm going to actually use some of that residual ink as well. Next, I'm going to use some Melon Mambo with my little itty bitty block. This is an A-size block. Again, spritzing it. That one just going right over my ink pad. And then I'm going to overlap them. This is a pretty bright pink, so probably can get a few stampings out of it. And do Another spray, so it's going to get a little bit lighter each time I stamp it, of course, just like stamping off with stamps. Okay, what next? I think I'm going to use some Night of Navy next. I know, ink and water. Yes, I'm right there with you, Linda. I love playing with ink and water. I don't know if I've mentioned this here, but I've been not really getting a lot of time to craft lately. And so this past weekend, there's my Night of Navy super dark here. I got to craft. I had to. I love that. You have to craft because I have some events coming up, including my club and free card kit projects for September that need to get designed, and I need to get kits out in the mail to my club members. And so there was a pressing need for me to craft, and it was a lot of fun. Really nice to kind of get back into my crafting space. I do a lot of, the blogging and taking photographs, and you know what? I love the craft, so dang it if I don't get to craft. That's kind of a bummer. Okay, so I need to do some more. Let's do a little bit more pink. Using a lot of water here. Now, I especially love to overlap because then the ink colors blend and become new colors. So I'm pretty much doing about 4 spritzes on each one as I do it. And I have not yet so far, so see now I've got some multiple colors of ink on there because it lifted up some of the ink from my watercolor paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one again because now I've got a little bit of purple in there, which is super fun. And I've still got some residual ink on there. Didn't add more ink, just getting in there now. I don't know if you guys know this technique called serigraph. I did it years ago with a brayer, and it sort of gives you some linear elements, sort of like what you see happening here. And we don't have a rubber brayer anymore, so can't really do that way. So it's kind of fun to get this sort of angular look. Now I have not used my C block yet, so I'm going to actually go in with 2 colors on this one just for the heck of it. And I'm going to spritz it so they blend a little. And I'm going to go smack in the middle. See what happens there. So I kind of just keep going with this, keep playing with it until I decide it's time to stop. And I think I might be there. And you can see I'm inky. I was more inky this afternoon because I was playing with ink this afternoon also. And I think the rest of this is just going to get cleaned up. Where are my paper towels? All right, I'm going to actually, I just noticed I have some white space. I need to cover up my white space. And I'm just going to do it with some balmy blue. Just in this general vicinity. Alrighty, so there we go. There's my kind of background. Now, I'm going to work on my second focal piece. Putting away my ink pads because I'm done with these for now. I think I'm done with them all together, in fact. Get rid of these dirty blocks. All right. Now, I'm going to actually use this background to do something else, to create a second background. So I have a piece of cardstock here. I'm sorry, a piece of scratch paper rather. And I've drawn a pencil mark for the size of this piece of cardstock, and I have I have a little bit of strong adhesive right there in the middle. I'm just going to place it down here. Yeah, inky fingers means you're having fun. No doubt about it. Okay, make sure it gets stuck on there. Okay, so now I've got a larger piece of watercolor paper, and it is actually the size of the outside pencil mark. And I did that so I would be able to do the next step. So I'm going to take my water bottle, my spritzer, and I'm going to spray the whole thing again so that it's good and wet. And that's going to actually make the colors blend even more. Now this one was my own crazy idea, because when I did the original focal piece, it was really dark. And so I thought, well, why not remove a little bit of ink, see what happens, and create it in such a way that I have an edge as well. So let's see how well this worked. Each time it comes out different. Ooh, whew. Oh, well, that's kind of fun. That was an unexpected little element there with all that dark purpley we got. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm tempted. Do I leave it? Do I smoosh it back on there? I don't know. That's pretty interesting. It's going to look different, very different than my first one. But isn't that just part of the fun, right? Okay. I am going to actually dab off a little bit off the edge, just so that it doesn't make a mess. Okay, so there it is. You can see it's a whole lot lighter than what it was before, and then this one has these fun purpley streaks in it. Now how much water you spray on this when you do what I'm calling kissing, kissing my cardstock, is going to determine how much ink comes off and how blended it is, how much of a watery background it is. And of course, if there's extra water like there was here, you get these really cool elements, which I didn't get the first time I did this. So it just makes it extra fun. Okay, so now I'm going to use both of these, but they're very wet. So I'm actually going to set them aside and show you a few that are actually dry already. This is a big mess. Oh yes, having fun. It's a big mess. Okay. So before I go on to doing working with those two focal pieces, I'm going to do one other thing. So I'm really going to be working on my focal pieces all at the same time. So this is going to be for the third card. So the pieces you saw over there are for two of the cards. This is for one of the other. This is for the third card. So for this one, I'm going to be using a baby wipe. I have a big industrial size thing of baby wipes here, which I've been using a lot the last few days. Another demonstrator, she is actually part of the Color Fusers Blog Hop team. Bonnie O'Neill is her name, and she shared something on her site which inspired me to do what you're going to see me do here now. And so I get inspiration from all over the place and love to share the credit when I can remember. So I'm using my re-inker bottles for this. So I've got Night of Navy, Balmy Blue, and Melon Mambo. And you know, I have to tell you, this was not a color scheme that I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm so excited to play with it. But I've had so much fun with it. And I think one of the things I've realized as I've been doing this Color Fusers team is that when it's the hardest color combination, it forces me to be even more creative than I might otherwise be. So it forces creativity, which is really kind of fun. Okay, so I've put droplets on my baby wipe, folded it up, of course, and then I'm going to add some Balmy Blue here and abouts, and then I'm going to add some of the Melon Mambo. Lift that baby up, and again, this is going to turn out different every time, and because I have these colors on here, it's they're going to mix a little bit. Okay, I'm going to test it on my scratch paper, my good and messy scrap paper already, see what it looks like, see if I need any other colors, so you can see the general idea of where I'm going with this. And then I'm going to create some streaks on my piece. Now this is die cut with one of the other rectangle stitched dies. And I'm going to do this because my fingers are inky, so I want to make sure I don't get a fingerprint on there. So now I'm just creating my streaks just to get sort of a background. And I can sort of focus where I'm doing it based upon where the ink is, but I'm really just kind of rubbing it on, getting it as dark as I want or as light as I want. Now when Bonnie did hers, she did a fall color scheme, which was super pretty. And of course, I had to go in this direction because I was working with the Color Fusers color scheme. So there's another element for my third card. Okay, I'm going to take just 1 second to wipe my hands. Make sure that as I put my cards together, I'm not going to make a big mess of them. And then we'll go on to the next thing. So that's pretty much the inky messy part. And the rest is looking at the actual cards. Now I had a glove out here, but guess what? I didn't use it. Decided why not? Just get those inky fingers, right? Okay. And just gonna grab another piece of clean paper for here. Doesn't that look so pretty? So much prettier on a clean piece of white paper. All right. So now we got our focal pieces. Let's see what those other ones look like at the moment. They're drying some and they start changing and looking a little bit different. So there's those are. This one is still quite wet. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is work on the piece. This is the piece the one that was kissed the other one. This is one I did the other day. It's nice and dry and crisp. You can see it looks very different from that other one. Probably a little bit less water on this one. And I have set up on my stamp apparatus all but one of the snowflakes from the Snowflake Splendor. It's called Snowflake Wishes, from the Snowflake Wishes set. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just be able to stamp snowflakes, tons of snowflakes all at the same time? And I recently did do a project where I was using Versamark, which is what I'm going to do here now. And it was really hard to see where to stamp the images because you stamp one and it's clear. And you can't see it. So I decided that setting it up on the stamp apparatus would be a very smart idea. So here we go. So I got my Versamark. Got to do my embossing buddy. Going to ink it up. And it's always useful to have a stamp set underneath because it gives you a nice solid surface. The other great benefit of this, having it on the stamp apparatus, is that you can, if an area gets missed, you can ink it up and stamp it again as long as your cardstock stays in the same place. And that's really especially important in this situation because this is watercolor paper, which is a pretty grainy surface, and a lot of times the ink won't necessarily fill the whole image because of that grainy paper. So it didn't lift up much, so I'm going to go ahead and just, to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and ink it again. And you can't even see those images there, but they are there. And once we put the white embossing powder on it, you'll really be able to see where they are. And here's my white embossing powder. Now, I do want to point out, I have this, I think it's called the Deluxe, well, it's a deluxe mat for the Stamparatus. So here, let's just put this in here, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. Let's see what we got. Now this is gonna, the color on my piece, of course, stops at a linear line, but the images go past the line, and because it's white, it's subtle, and it still looks really good. So as you can see, I probably missed a little bit of ink in there, but it's close enough. They're snowflakes, right? So now I would heat emboss this next, but I'm going to show you a finished one so they don't have to have you sitting here listening to me doing that, which will take a while. Before I show you the finished one, I just want to point out this mat right here. This is the deluxe mat that you can buy as an addition to the Stamparatus. It's the same thickness as the foam piece that comes with the Stamparatus, but it has this really nice grid on the surface as if it's grid paper, and it's plasticized. So I can put adhesive on here, I can wash it, I can stamp on it and clean it off, and it doesn't, like if you have a piece of paper over the top, it can sometimes move, and so it sort of defeats the whole purpose. So it's a wonderful new addition to my Stamparatus collection, if you will. I just love this new mat. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. Now, I pretend I did the same exact thing, but I heat embossed it on my second piece. Now, this is the partner piece that I did the other day that was dry, and it was the thing I kissed onto. And this is an example of the piece that I kissed onto. So this is the card, the finished card of the one that I was just showing you about for the heat embossing. So I heat embossed this in white on balmy blue, fussy cut it out, put it up on dimensionals, and then just wrapped a little bit of this ribbon around. I did a faux tie, so I tied it around the back, and then just tied a knot with a second piece. So that's my finished project of the kissed focal piece. That's, I guess, really card number 1. Now, let's move on to card number 2. So I'm going to work with this piece here, and I'm going to die cut it using my Stampin' Cut in a die machine. And I am going to be using my rectangles again. So here, my sandwich and my setup, my number 1, that's for the base plate or whatever. This is if you're doing die cutting, so a little spacer. So that's 2. 3 is my first cutting mat, and then I've got a second cutting mat. So I'm going to put my paper on here, and then grab my die cut rectangle piece that I need. Make sure I have the right one. I think that's the right one. Now, Stampin' Up! Has come out with a magnetic plate as well, which I definitely need to get, because in this sort of situation I want it to be an exact cut, so I have to be careful it actually stays in place. And I may just use a little bit of washi tape to do that. Grab a little piece. So now this piece that I'm cutting here is actually going to become part of 2 different cards. And I have done a lot of the pieces ahead of time, so it'll move really quickly after I get this die cut. Don't want it to be askew. It needs to be just right. Ugh. Should have done this off camera. I need to keep you guys waiting while I fuss with it. Okay, looks pretty good. Notice there's no big bangy sounds, which actually used to happen with my Big Shot. And I'm sort of surprised it doesn't happen with this one, but pleasantly surprised. All right, so there's piece 1 and piece 2. So let's bring this all together. So now, this was actually a card that I shared in the Color Fusers blog hop. So this is the card I'm going to quickly put together with one of these 2 pieces. Got a lot of my pieces already taken care of. So I've got a piece of Night of Navy with a white piece on top that's been dry embossed with the subtle embossing folder. I've got a frame that I already have up on dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach that. I especially wanted to show this because of the background, and I didn't really talk about the background at all in my post on Monday because it was just too much to go through, and so I thought this would be a perfect thing to share today so people would know how I got the background on this card. There's that. And then this piece I'm going to pop up onto dimensionals. And I'm going to use, this is a piece of the sheets that we now sell, that Stampin' Up! Now sells. And I'm going to go ahead and cut 3 nice big strips. I want it to be well popped up. Not exactly centered, but that'll work. And just going to pop that right there in the center. And then I've got a sentiment piece here, a little bit different from this other one, but the same idea, heat embossed in white, attached to a piece of vellum, and then I've got dimensionals on the back side. I see you're saying something. What is a mad ethic plate, Jolene? Tell us. Explain. Don't know what that is. So there's my version number 2 with a different sentiment in there. And then you can see on this one I have some of the blue rhinestone jewels. There's 3 of them in there. Those are also from this suite. And I will add some to this as well. So I've got a couple of little spots to put them, and because I've got the exact spacing of my snowflakes, because of the positioning on my Stamparatus, I know that they're going to actually fit just perfectly. So doing it on the Stamparatus this way in particular makes it really easy, whether you make this exact card or something different, to make multiples. And if you're thinking about Christmas, perfect, right? Okay, so here is, you've seen now 2 cards out of the 3, and this one will be quick too. So this one I have not shared previously. Got a fun little tip to share on this one too. So this one is also a Night of Navy base, slightly smaller piece of white, but is also dry embossed with the subtle embossing folder. And this is where this piece now comes into the mix. So this is also going to get put up on dimensionals. To cut these babies thinner this time. That's what I got left. Works just perfectly. All right, and then this is going to go on dimensionals as well. So it's going to frame right here. I'm not going to take the time to do that. This is going to go right here. And I'm going to just work on this focal piece for the moment because I want to share a little tip with you on this. I have cut out 3 of my snowflake die pieces. And check out how pretty that is. So what I've done on the back, I put, itty bitty one big dimensional in the center, and then I cut these in half. They're slightly less than half of a small dimensional so that this middle snowflake can be popped up. Now I punched a 1/2 inch circle in Night of Navy. That's what's in behind here, so I'd be able to put the dimensional on and have it not be showing. And then when I turn it over, you see I've attached it with a glue dot, and you can see the glue dot through. That's why I had that piece of paper on top. So I'm going to put a rhinestone right in the middle there, and it's going to fit perfectly. So let's start with getting this snowflake on here. Get those little backings off without ripping my snowflake. Delicate operation here. These are my favorite snowflakes that I think Stampin' Up! May have ever come out with. They're just so delicate, and I guess what I'm envisioning is realistic, but you know, that's not really what snowflakes look like, right? Okay, well, hopefully that's about right center. Now with these, I've done a trick that I just love, and I actually think Shelley Gardner shared this. But I honestly am not 100% sure. So what I did on the back of these is I put some multi-purpose liquid glue back here, but I let it sit and dry, and it's tacky and actually quite sticky, but it's not, you know, sticky to the point where I'm going to get glue on my fingers, because I wanted a way to put adhesive on and make it quick and easy to put it on, showing you guys. So it was a pretty neat little trick, and now I'm just going to place it so that it's centered here. It should go so that it's right to the end and right between that part. Now this one also has that dry multi-purpose liquid glue on there. And just going to place it on the other side. And then just because I have to, I got to put some of these blue adhesive back gems onto these snowflakes just for the joy of seeing it. I am partial to the more bluer ones, but these are kind of have more colors in them. And I'm going to use a large one in the center. And again, it's going to cover up that glue dot that's peeking through. And then one of the smaller ones on each of the small snowflakes. All right. So all I got to do is put these up on dimensionals to raise up my frame. Put that in the center, and I am done with my set of 3 cards. My cards that are friends. My original one. And then these ones. Okay, well, so inky fun, right? Lots of detail. These were so much fun to make, so colorful. And I got to kind of take the pink that I didn't especially love and mix it with the blues and make some purple, which is one of my favorite colors. Now there is one thing I wanted to share in addition to these. I wanted to talk just a little bit about my design process, because I often have people say, you know, that they don't know where to begin, or they have a lot of things and they don't spend time making cards. And sometimes I think there's the simple barriers of getting started. So just a quick little tour, if you will, through how I came up with these designs and what I used here. And every process is going to be different. So, but for me, of course, I started with my color scheme. That was what I had to start with. So once you have sort of that hard decision, first decision made, that helps. And then when I think of my colors, it helps me to decide what I want to do, either which images I want to use, or if I want to do a technique. So when I was playing around with this, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. This was another one of the cards that I shared on Monday. So I thought the easiest way to figure something out was to just stamp some of those images and see what I thought. Now this was before I attached it to the Stamparatus, by the way. But this was sort of a starting point, and I could kind of get an idea of what I might want to do with the focal piece. And then I started playing with the techniques and with ink. So that was my second step, was just playing around, just the fun. And I came up with a bunch of different focal pieces and elements. And I'm going to show you just some of them. So this was when I did straight melon mambo, a little bit too bold for what I wanted. I actually used baby wipes and I stamped with my snowflakes. That was another thing I tried, and you can see I did, you know, the two different ones. This is really a lot of the fun part of crafting, is just the play part. I played around with doing the streaks on the edge, thinking I'd put something in the middle. Didn't like that too much in the end. Another example of my baby wipe streaks. I don't even know where that came from. It was probably a kissing thing. I think it was a kissing thing. This was stamping with my block. I actually think I made streaks with my baby wipes and then on the block and then stamped it. So another fun little play thing. And then just some miscellaneous pieces that I created as I was trying to figure out what next. So step 1, colors. Step 2 was playing with the technique and figuring out my stamps. Step 3 was choosing a layout element. And I had in mind that I wanted to do this raised up centerpiece with a frame and the recessed piece in the background. It had been a layout that I saw somewhere, and I thought, you know, why not bring it into this? So that was my third decision and how I came to some of the designs. And then this one was sort of organically, that came from doing the kissing thing. So that ended up being another focal piece that I had. And then finally I go to cardstock colors and layering. I did, you know, I did a different frame, of course, because I was trying to figure out what colors went best with, you know, some of these layouts. And then, of course, the last step was just figuring out the embellishments, the ribbon and the little gems. So anyway, just if that is helpful, please let me know. I feel like every design process is different, and there's just little decisions along the way. It's often not easy. I will just say that. I struggle with my design some, but then once you come up with some fun things that you like, it's like with every decision you move on to the next fun, you know, step in the process of coming up with that final product that you really like. And of course, it's so exciting and fun when you do come up with that final product. Oh, I just realized I have a few more quick things. I always have too much to share. This was another one I did with the block stamping. This was stamping with the baby wipes and multiple colors of ink on the baby wipes. And this is just regular cardstock. It actually turned out pretty cool. So I might have to do something with that. And this is another one. Streaks on the block and then sprayed and water put on there. And, you know, the negative space. Anyway, lots of fun pieces and parts. Just couldn't help but share. Alrighty. So, let me know what you think. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera back around, announce the results from my little drawing last week. Just thinking if there's anything I'm forgetting here. Don't think so. Got to look at my notes. Almost there. I'm back. That was a lot, a whirlwind for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me it was. I'm all hot and bothered. All right. So the recap of announcements, and then I'm going to let you know the details of my hashtag free card kit and hashtag free product winners. So let's see, and I just gave a hint right there. All right, so newsletter subscribers, you got your special offer this month. For every $50 you spend, you get one of my retired embellishments with a maximum of 3, plus the other perks, either card kits or the free product that I mentioned last week and was in my newsletter. And let's see, and then oh yeah, so the last thing is just who won. Okay, so what I decided to do, and I didn't say this last week, but it just made logical sense, is that I would have 2 winners. One that would win some free card kits, the people who really were excited about free card kits, and one who would win embellishments. So let me grab the embellishments. I'm not sure I even showed them last week, but so the winner of these embellishments, and it was actually split about 50-50. About half of the people said they preferred kits and half the people said they preferred products. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see. So there is the Elegant Faceted Gems. And this is actually what people who are earning product with their orders in September, who have already gotten July, August kits, if you spend $50, you're going to get this for free. And today, the person who is winning from this drawing is, drumroll please, do it for myself, Lauralee Falvey. Yay, Lauralee. Excited. So I will be mailing those out to you. I have your address, so you don't need to send it to me. So that's the good news. And then I also drew a second name from among the people who said they preferred free card kits. And the winner of that, I don't know if she's here today because I haven't been paying close enough attention to the names, is Susan Polinsky. I also have your address, Susan. So I will be sending you free card kits. I'll be in touch. And if you're out there, just let me know you know. So congratulations to Lauralee and Susan. So excited to send those out to you. And thank you all for playing along and sharing your preferences. I always love to know what you're interested in. So at any time, please feel free to let me know. Just helps me to focus what I share. So I will be back next week, same time, same channel, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with something else fun, as always. And I'll have a blog post for these projects up on Saturday, along with the video on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to look at your comments as we close up, see if anybody has any questions or additional comments I should be seeing. And of course, I will go read your comments after the live is over as well. So lots of congratulations for Lauralee and Susan. Yay. All right. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Elizabeth, and look forward to reading all your comments. I can't read them while I'm demonstrating, mostly. All right. Thank you so much for joining in, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Happy crafting, everybody. Bye.